Well, hello YouTube, and welcome to what will, hopefully for me, be quite a short video. I haven't had anything delivered for a while, certainly nothing new anyway. I did have another copy of AOD-01 version 3 delivered because apparently I'm insane and need too many copies of Optimus Prime. But anyway, I haven't had anything new. I kind of wanted to post some new content because I've had a few people subscribe to the channel recently, which is great. It's very much appreciated. Obviously, I'm just a hobbyist, and I really only do this for my own satisfaction and to share with the community and give something back, as they say. So yeah, it means a lot that people are subscribing and commenting, and mostly been positive. You know, had the occasional, you know, dickish comment, but you know, it's YouTube, it's the internet. What are you going to do? Anyway, so I've also gone back to using my old camera setup because there were some problems with the iPhone I was using to record things. You know, I should know better than to use Apple products. Crazy. Anyway, this hopefully will sort out any of the audio issues I was having. Unfortunately, I didn't notice that I was having those audio issues. I can't even say the things now. See, there you go. Audio issues for the past two videos, the long videos I've done on Optimus Prime, funnily enough, both MP44 and AOD-01. But anyway, hopefully this will go back and sort things out, and we can carry on as if nothing happened. We can forget that. So, as you can see, I'm taking a look at this fella today, and it's something I've had in my collection for a little while, but haven't really given a lot of love, because I'm not really a Season 2 kind of guy. I'm more of an original More Than Meets the Eye collector. More Than Meets the Eye and Season 1 cast. There's a few Season 2 characters I do like. This guy being one of the main ones, actually. Mostly because of an episode I'm sure you're all very familiar with. And that is the Girl Who Loved Powerglide. In which he was the titular star, of course. I don't know why that one resonated. It just stuck out. I think it was because I owned a VHS tape when I was a kid, and it had that, and Megatron's Master Plan, and maybe one other episode on it. So I watched that over and over, and yeah, it always stuck in the mind. I picked this guy up. As you can see, it's the Art of Duplicates KO of DX9's Richthofen. Probably butchering the pronunciation of that, but there you go. And yeah, this was super cheap. I think I paid £27.50 for it delivered, and I think now you can get it for 25 quid delivered. It's yeah, incredible to me. I think it still represents probably one of the, or possibly the best value, pound for pound, in terms of quality that I've had for any figure I've bought. I honestly can't understand how they were able to produce this for the money, when you see stuff like the new Blue Lobster Frank costing 30 something quid, and that's a PVC statue with zero articulation. So anyway, for the money, this thing is already insanely good value. So I'll just take you through the box. There's not really too much to see. I do quite like the picture, actually. It's quite a cool picture of old Powerglide on the front there. The sides just show the picture of the figure itself in is bomber mode, and on the back there we have both robot and they call it a glider, but I think he's actually a B-52, or supposed to be something like a B-52 bomber. I don't know. I'm not up on my warplanes, but yeah, nothing particularly exotic. It shows you the accessories you get as well. You get a little figure, the companion, or extra doll as they call her, more about her later, and the mask, and the weapon. But yeah, obviously AOD-01 Deformation glider, that's their name for this particular take on the character. And I don't know if there is an AOD-2. I hope there is something at some point, because if they can reproduce the quality of this at the price point for another figure, I'd be very interested in it. I've actually taken the figure out already, but I'll just show you briefly what you get in the package. So we'll dump the cardboard. You get your usual instruction sheet. There isn't a lot to it, to be honest. It's just a bunch of instructional steps. Whee! Here is the clamshell. As you can see, I've already taken the figure out, but in here you get the flight stand and the mask, which I haven't removed, and we'll sort of try and cover that. The flight stand's probably the one disappointing element of the set, but yeah, I'll go into that in a moment. Anyway, as for the figure itself, let's get this bad boy out. And here it is in alt mode. Now it actually comes in robot mode, but I wanted to go for alt mode first. It's not a bad looking figure really, or not a bad looking alt mode. I quite like it. Let me just adjust the camera so we can get a slightly better angle on it. Yeah, I mean it's a pretty great looking mini-bot really, and it's quite big actually. I was expecting it to be a lot smaller, but yeah, I mean it's very clean. I mean it doesn't have a lot of paint on it, granted. Some people I know hate that sort of flat plastic look, but I don't mind it. I think it's a very clean figure, as I've just said. There are a couple of little issues which I can go into. For example, I think these maybe even affected the original DX9 version, but the tail here is a bit gappy. You can probably see if I bring that closer to the camera, if it will focus. There you go. There's quite a big gap in the tail. That doesn't really clip together properly, but I understand that may have been an issue with the original. It's not a massive problem for the price point, especially because I'm a robot mode guy. Elsewhere as well, these tail fins, they a little bit gappy, don't quite sort of show up as well as they could. I have a little bit of dirt on mine there. That is an unfortunate side effect of the robot mode positioning, which I'll go into in a bit. Yeah, you can see some more gaps there. Now that could just be where I haven't managed to get it to sort of align properly when I've transformed it, but there is a small gap in there. The tolerances are quite tight on this one, but other than that it's not too bad. Again, yeah, you can see there's a bit of a gap on the boosters. Sort of varies between the two. They do clip together reasonably well though. Yeah, I mean it's not going to win any awards for the best alt mode ever, but I was pleasantly surprised, I have to say, both in design and execution. And it's not quite as big as the Seekers, obviously, and obviously completely out of scale for what it's supposed to be. But yeah, I don't think it's too bad. I mean, there's another slight QC issue there. It's got a bit of overspray silver paint on the booster, if that will focus. Yep, there you go. So again, if this were more expensive, if this were the original, I'd probably be a hell of a lot more annoyed, but for the money I paid for it, honestly, it's not even visible in robot mode. And elsewhere, everything else is pretty clean. You've got your landing gear underneath as well, which you can see I've got him displayed with that at the moment. And he will sort of roll with that. Not completely freely, but you know, it's not too bad. The wheels are a bit stiff. But you don't have to have him displayed with that. You can actually just pop that back. It's a bit difficult to get it into this recess here though, I've noticed. It does clip up, but it's not as easy as it could be. These wheels are pretty easy though. They just slide back up into there. And then this one, you actually have to open the chest in order to put it back in. But that goes away. And then you've got a nice clean looking alt mode there. You obviously, as I'm demonstrating, have weapon storage under there. I personally don't like it, but I've done it just so I can demonstrate what you get with it. I'll remove that for the moment just so you can see how it looks without that. It's a nice clean alt mode. I hope you would agree with that. Nicely detailed as well. Panel lining is not too bad, and as I say, apart from the gaps, I think it's a pretty sweet looking glider, stroke bomber, stroke whatever the hell Powerglide is supposed to be. I did mention obviously that it comes with a flight stand, so I'll get that out and then we'll be right back and we can take a look, and I'll go through what I think is probably the most disappointing piece of the set. So just give me a second and I'll be right back. So here we are back with the flight stand, and hopefully I can demonstrate my issue with it. Now you're supposed to take this undercarriage down here and use that to plug into the top there, but it's really quite loose. Now I understand that on the official it's not this loose, and it plugs in a lot. It's a much more snug fit, so you don't have this issue of it being quite wobbly. Again, I'll try and move the camera up slightly because it's not quite in view, but I mean it does a job, don't get me wrong, it's not bad. I mean, he looks pretty cool on it. It's just not quite as snug a fit as it could be. That does cause issues because this piece actually, you can take it off and have it in a variety of poses. So it will go down to there, so you could have him doing a kind of a dive bomb there. It's a little bit difficult because he's quite front heavy, so maybe that's more of an acute angle than it needs to be. But again, I can turn him round and have him that way, so he's sort of doing a takeoff pose. But there you can see it has a tendency to want to fall back, but it does a job. It's not as good as the original from the videos I've seen, but it's a nice display option. It's good that they've included it at this price point. Again, as I said, it's insanely cheap for what it is. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go on about it too much because it's crazy how much this piece cost, and considering what you get with it, I still think it's great value for money. You can, as I say, you can just change that up again if you want and have them facing that way. I think it's a great little option, even though the execution isn't as good as it could be. It doesn't come with the DX9 logo on the front there, as you'd expect. It does have some molded detail in there, so you could actually put your own sticker in there if you wanted. Maybe have your own Powerglide sticker in there, or put an Autobot faction symbol or something just to jazz it up. But on the whole, it's not great, but it's functional. I just wish the fit was a little bit more secure, so I didn't feel like it was going to wobble about quite as much. But anyway, let's get this sucker transformed into robot mode, because that's where the action is really. And I'll try and go through it. I've only done it once before, so I'm going to do this from memory on camera, which is always death for me and not something I usually do, but for the mini bots it's not as bad as doing something like MP44 or MP36. So we'll give it a go and we'll see how we get on. Alright, so first thing is first. The easiest thing from memory is to get these arms sorted. So these arms are on a peg on the wing, so you can just detach them from the peg there, and then they will come down like that, turn around, and then you can turn these little pieces over. So let's repeat that for that arm. Bring that down, pull that down, and then you've kind of got his arms in place. Then it's easy enough just to turn the wings up like that and lift them up out of the way until we need to do the next piece. Then the easiest thing is to take the tail fin and split it slightly, and then what we want to do is this piece with the landing gear, we want to lift that up and clear. And the reason for that is because when we split these legs, which is easier said than done, this whole piece here will flip up and out, although it doesn't seem to want to move, which is a pain because it definitely does. There we go, it's gone. So that moves up and out, and then that whole piece folds up against his back like that to make a pseudo backpack. Now there are a couple of other bits you need to do. You'll notice on the wings there are these tiny little latches here. These open up, and then these wings come up like that, and the latches keep the wings in place against the back there. That's that bit done. So going around to the legs here, we want to rotate them 180 so that these coloured pieces are on the inside. Then we can rotate these legs around like this so that they're facing that way, so you have him with all of this stuff at the front. Then you want to take these pieces and turn them so that they're facing down like that. Then, and this is going to be the tricky bit, I think, these boosters should separate, and they're a bit stiff, so this is the only bit where I'm slightly worried we might have a problem. They do lift up though for ease of access. There we go, they open up like that. And then we'll go to the other side and try again. I'm hoping this one is not as stiff as it feels. It does feel like it's a lot stiffer. That's not too bad, great. Inside there are a couple of pieces which I'm hoping I can get my finger under. There we go, there's a little red piece there that needs to come up prior to the next step. So let's see if I can get my finger under there. There we go. Now what you do is you take these boosters and wrap them around and plug that peg into that port there, and that just, you can just see there's a port on the back right there, and that peg just goes straight into it and secures the boosters like that on the legs. So they're all done. Then what we do is we take these feet here, and these just, I should have done that first actually because they catch. Clever me. Pop that back in. Yeah, so those feet just pop up like that, and then what you do is you take these pieces, and you'll see again they have, it's difficult to see actually, but they have a little tab there. So also another bit I didn't do was this piece here, this peg goes into that port there to secure the tail in alt mode, but you want to flip that up prior to the next step. So you basically take this, as you can see there's another port there, and that just secures into there like that to form the feet. So there you go, you basically have the bottom half of the bot done now, and you can see why it gets the dirt on the paint there, which is unfortunate, and it's because it obviously stands on those pieces. Anyway, so now we just take the arms and we rotate them around, and they lift up there at the forearm piece, and you swing the hands out and the forearms close and the arms come back down. So that's a nice easy transformation. I'll just repeat that with this one. So you lift it up, pull the hand out, pop the forearm back down, and there you go. Now there are a couple of other bits and pieces you have to do just to tidy them up. This next bit was actually the hardest thing to do on mine because it was incredibly tight and I couldn't move it. What you have to do, let's just see if I can do it now. This head lifts up to provide a bit of access, but this whole chest piece, you have to get your finger and your thumb behind it and pull it out. And it's quite stiff. Now the whole thing, when it's pulled out, it rotates 180. Now the problem I had with that was that I couldn't pull it out far enough. So what I had to do was this chest piece here, again if I can get my nail under it, there we go, opens, and when you move the landing gear, there is, if you can just see, there's a screw in there. If that will focus in on it. You should just about be able to see that. There's a screw inside the chest. That was too tight. I just loosened that a few turns, and that really helped with the chest being able to pull out far enough. And then that made it much easier just to pop that back in to play like that. It was so much harder to begin with. Let's just sheared a tiny little sliver of plastic off as well. That's annoying. I don't think that was anything major to worry about there. Anyway, so that's that done. That's just a tip in case anyone else has an issue. You can see there I've also got a slight black splodge on top of the red. Maybe that will pick up on camera, I'm not sure if it will. You can probably see it. there you go, it's just there on the top there. That is another little QC issue, but again, like I said, it's not a major thing. Anyway, to finish off, you just take this panel here and flip that around to reveal the face. And that is pretty much it. You are done. That's your Powerglide all transformed up. Yeah, I mean, not bad really. It's quite an easy transformation, you know, bearing in mind I'm terrible at these things. I was able to do it without too much of an issue there, as you saw. I'll try and get him cleaned up a second and adjust the camera slightly, and I'll be right back so we can take a proper look at him. Okay, we're back, and yeah, as you can see, it's Powerglide. I'm not going to attempt the impression of how he says his voice in that episode, but you know, you get the overall impression of him yourself. It's a nice piece. That's a really nice robot mode as far as I'm concerned. I think that's a brilliant representation of the character. Really evocative of the animation model. It's not 100%, I know that, but it's pretty damn close. It's also quality-wise, from what I've seen, it's not a million miles off of the quality of the official DX9 version. It's probably not quite as, what's the word, finished as that is. But it's not bad, and it has a good range of motion, which we'll cover, and some nice gimmicks, which again we'll go through. I mean, I'll give you a sort of a 360 look at it, and there he is from the front and from the side, and there's the rear view, which is, you know, the sort of most, not, I don't know if kibbly is the right word, but definitely it's the least clean view. And then there we go again from the other side, and back around to the front again. I think it's pretty good. Just to go through some of the articulation as well. The head here it's on a swivel, so it can go left and right and up and down, which is pretty cool. You can get some decent, you know, I mean, it can't go down too far, but it's a little bit, as you can see, just a tiny bit. But it can go up a little bit, and you know, it's on a, you know, I mean, you can get some decent posability out of it. It's not terrible, put it that way. Now, the arms, they can do a 360. They're just friction, they're not ratcheted. You have a bend at the shoulder. The elbows are double jointed, so you can go all the way up to there, which is fantastic. The wrists are just swivel, and as is the standard for figures at this size, and even some slightly bigger figures, you know, you have 3 fingers on a base pin there, and then you have a separate index finger on a base pin, and the thumb is molded, it doesn't move at all. And that's the same for both hands, as you'd expect. There you go. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't expect much more at this size, to be honest, especially for the cost. The legs, they have upper thigh rotation and knee rotation as well. You have a bit of an ankle tilt, not much. I mean, it goes out more than it goes in, which is strange because obviously, oh no, actually it does go in more than I thought. I didn't realise you could actually pull that joint down as much as you can, but yep, that will move down. So you do actually have some pretty good ankle, by pulling that down, you can get some pretty wide sort of stances out of him, which is cool. Learned something new myself there. The toes themselves, the feet themselves, I said, you've got these heel spurs which you need to kind of pull down a little bit there to give it a little bit more stability. Without it, it does have a tendency to topple backwards. Knee bend is 90, which is fine, to be honest. I I forgot to say that the shoulders can go all the way out there because those upper arm pieces move, so that's not bad as well. The hip side skirt moves, so you can get almost 90 on it. It does have a front hip skirt as well, but it's quite stiff, so I try to move it so I don't scratch the paint, but it can go up to slightly less than 90. And again, the rear skirt as well goes back for slightly less than 90. But all in all, for a small figure like this, it's not bad at all, I think. Paint applications on mine, you know, a couple of minor issues as I pointed out already, but all things considered, not terrible, not at all. I really do like the sculpt on it. I think it's great, especially the head sculpt. I think, bring him in closer, the head sculpt is really great. I think it's really evocative of the character. I quite like the blue colour for the eyes. Slightly smudgy paint on mine, but you can't really tell from a distance. It's only when you get up really close that you can see that it's come out a little bit onto the grey face. Yeah, I guess, like I keep saying, for the money, this thing's incredible. I think it's a fantastic piece. There are a couple of other play features as well, which I'll go through in a second. But for a moment, I'll just leave him here for you to get another look at without my hands in the way, so you can appreciate Powerglide in all of his beauty. Okay, so for play features, as I mentioned, there are a few different things. You obviously have the standard sort of weapon that you'd expect. It doesn't work on the same principle as most Masterpiece weapons though. It doesn't have the two notches either side. It only has a small indent on one side of the gun. Now, I don't think that really makes a difference. I don't think it actually notches into anything. So the gun fits into the hand and is held in purely with friction of the wrist, or sorry, the fist being clenched. But it goes in nice and securely, it won't come out, and it's nice and straight, so there's none of that silly Masterpiece issue where the gun sits at an angle. And it's a pretty nice sculpt for the gun as well. I quite like it, so that's good. You can have that in either hand. The other piece that you get, and this does require slight modification to the face a second. I need to push that back around. Never been a big fan of doing this. I always feel like I'm going to scratch something. Oh, let me try and do this without completely ruining the face. I should have brought a spudger with me. Give me a second, I'll be right back with a spudger. Oh, no, I didn't need it in the end. There we go. So, that port there, this pegs into it, and you can replicate that scene from, I think was it Hoist Goes to Hollywood? I'm pretty sure that was it, where some of the Autobots worked on a movie set and acted as aliens, so you could almost kind of have them doing, I think they did some sort of almost like a zombie pose, didn't they, in that episode? So you could probably have old Powerglide emulating that pose like that. Well, I don't know how stable he's going to be on one foot. Oh, so close. Come on. No! Oh, so close. Anyway, you get the idea. It's not a bad thing. I mean, I probably wouldn't use it that much, but it's a cool little play feature. Obviously, I know it's originally with the DX9. It's not like AOD did it themselves, but considering that MP39 comes with it as well, I think it's a nice little addition to the package if you did want to replicate that scene. So take that off, bring that back around. There we go. Don't think I've scratched the face, thankfully. Let's put him back into a more neutral pose. There we go. Stand back up there, Powerglide. And finally, he comes with a couple of other features. We touched earlier on the minifigure that comes with it, the companion. Here she is, otherwise known as, I believe, was it Astoria Colton Ritz from the episode The Girl Who Loved Powerglide. Obviously, no real articulation to speak of, or none at all in fact. It's just a small moulded figure. The paint actually, I don't know how well that will show. The paint actually isn't too bad on mine. I've seen some figures, either with the official or not, that look pretty ropey, but this is actually okay. Yeah, not bad at all really. Doesn't do a lot, obviously. It just stands there looking pretty, but you could have her there to sort of replicate scenes. And of course, we all know that in the episode itself, Powerglide, there was a slightly dubious romance between the two, where, you know, a giant alien robot fell for a sport brat heiress, but he had his little mechanical beating heart, and that is actually moulded into the chest if you open it. So it's difficult to see because it's quite dark, but there you go. You can see that in the chest there, that red piece. That's his robotic heart. And it's just a nice little thing to have. I mean, it's silly, but it's a really nice nod to the episode and to the G1 lore. So I always like options, as long as they don't cost me any more, and this certainly didn't at this price point. So anyway, I guess in conclusion, what I'd say is that even though I'm not the biggest fan of this character, I think this is a fantastic piece for the price. You know, if you're not a fan of KOs, I get that. Some people aren't. I mean, I'm obviously not as moral as those people, but for whatever the DX9 version cost, it was something like 60, 70, 80 quid, whatever, maybe even more than that. I would never have picked it up, but this literally popped up in the sort of group that I'm a member of on Facebook for the price it was, and I jumped at it just because there was nothing else I wanted that month, and it was 20 odd quid. So I think it also helped that my son had watched the Powerglide episode with me. He's only young, he's only 4 years old, and he loved, I think he might even have been 3 then as well, and I'd given him my G1 Powerglide as well, which is probably a bit of a mistake, giving a 3-year-old a G1 Transformer. But I got this because I thought he'd love it, and he did, it was a nice little added bonus. So if you're a fan of the character and you don't already have the DX9 version and you don't want to break the bank, honestly, for 25 quid, which is the going rate for this figure now, you cannot go wrong. It is a fantastic buy. Even if you're not and you just want a bot to fill out your shelf, this is honestly fantastic. The quality is on par with a lot of official and third-party figures costing a hell of a lot more. There are actually 2 KOs. I forget who makes the other one, but you want the Art of Duplicates one. I've seen comparisons of the two, and the other KO just isn't up to the quality of this. The paint apps aren't as good, the build quality is not as good. It just isn't as good. Take it from me. I did quite a lot of research before I bought it, and this is the KO you want if you're going to get it. To be honest, there's not a lot of difference between this and the official. The official is marginally better, I would say. Some of the paint apps are better, and obviously, you know, the quality is probably going to be a little bit better again. But the only real issue I had with mine was the chest, which thankfully was very easily remedied by turning that screw. So yeah, I'm incredibly happy with this piece, which is why I decided to chuck this quick video together, really, just because I thought there might be other people out there who would enjoy this character, didn't know about this KO. I hope this helps someone, you know. As I say, I like to share my findings sometimes, and if it does, you know, say in the comments. I always enjoy a bit of discussion about it. If you like the character, if you like the figure, let me know your thoughts on it. I should have some more new content coming soon. I believe I've got Jabber on the way, if it actually does see the light of day this month. I also have some other stuff coming in November. I think that's when the new Sovereign's going to drop. Fans Toys Toon version of Sovereign, their movie-based version, which I did manage to grab. I was very lucky to get in on that after spending the whole night sitting there waiting for the pre-order button to pop up. I also was planning on getting MP45 and MP47, but I don't know, I'm a little bit on the fence. I think unfortunately I'm tied in on a pre-order for MP47. I did try to get out of it but couldn't. So I've got that, and I'm just hoping that that doesn't have any QC issues, but I'm really wary after MP44, so I wanted to sort of wait for reviews and in-hand opinions, but looks like I'm in on that. I probably will get MP45B as well at some point, so hopefully I can give you a review of that one as well, although I'm sure you won't be short on reviews of that. It's just, you know, I like to give my opinions on these things. So yeah, hopefully, you know, you're enjoying the content, and once again, thanks for sticking with the channel and the new subscribers. And it's you know, it's a small hobby thing, but it's really nice, and I'm glad that some people are getting something out of it. And if you guys have got your own content and you want to sort of share, let me know in the comments, and I'll check it out as well. I always enjoy seeing people's videos and their opinions on figures and things I might not have seen, opinions I might not have considered. So yeah, let me know, and that's what this is all about, really. It's a community hobby, and I'm all for that. Anyway, thanks for tuning in for this hopefully quick and painless video, and I also sincerely hope that the audio quality is better than it has been in previous ones. All that remains for me to say is thanks for tuning in once again, and I will catch you later. Take care, everyone.